Hi, hello, Hollywood Time viewers. Today we are here with Nashville singer-songwriter Risa Binder. How you doing? That's an awesome
Hey,
name.
oh, thank you. Thank you for having me today. So fun.
Not a problem. I love Zoom.
I love Zoom has been like so amazing over this last 16 months. I love it too.
Well, we're here. We probably have lots to talk about, but let's talk about what we're here to talk about. Your new single and video, "A Lot Like Home."
Okay, thank you. Yeah, uh, I always say that the life of a song is so long, and the song was actually written about 5 years ago. It's wild, and we just it just came out last week. And so when we wrote the song, I wrote it with three other co-writers, friends of mine, Sean Ballin, Isabel Miller, and Benji Harris, who's in the video with me. And this video is like a full circle moment. I'm gonna try not to get like emotional on here, but like from 5 years ago when we wrote the song, the four of us, so much life has been lived. And when we sat down to write the song, it kind of came as like my idea. I was like, guys, we just put an offer down on a house. We lost this house 2 times. It's not a house, it's an apartment. Let's be real. That's where I am right now. We lost it 2 times, but I have this gut feeling. I knew when I walked in the door to this place that it was going to be mine. It was wild and weird, but I think we all have those gut
Yeah.
instincts about
Mhm.
things, right? And I'm like, I'm in this space. I want to write about how it feels a lot like home, how the first time you're doing something. And Benji goes, well, we're pregnant with our first kid. So I'm feeling all the first. I was like, whoa. So we sat down and we started writing. And at the time, Isabeau and Sean were just friends. And now, cut to here's 5 years later. We made this video 8 weeks ago. I mean, we just made the video. I'm looking at Benji. I'm looking at, oh, back up. Big thing I missed here. Benji Harris is an incredible singer and guitar player. You'll see it in my
Yeah.
video. But he has a beautiful, since he's had another kid and they have a beautiful two daughters, and his wife survived breast cancer.
Oh
Okay.
my
And
gosh.
so then it gets even more wonderful because when we were trying to figure out who was going to be in the video, Benji's like, Risa, my wife has always wanted to be an actress. I was like, yes. I'm like, she's in it. So the girl in the video is Benji's wife. And
What?
I know, and all I could think about on the day of filming this, like I have chills right now. I'm like, holy cow. I'm like, Andrea is here today. She is a survivor. She is filming
Yeah.
this music video. Her husband, I'm singing the song to Benji, and we're looking at each other going, how has this happened? It's such a beautiful. And so also the other thing I want to share is that Isabeau and Sean, who we wrote the song with, are now married and have had 2 kids. They were just friends.
What?
I mean, I can't. I said to Benji on the video shoot, I'm like, I kept saying, do you know how much life has been lived between when we wrote and like when I say the life of a song is so long, and that also I really do believe that music is magic. And like when we wrote this song 5 years ago, I took the lyrics of the chorus, darling, I've been dreaming of, and I got them through Etsy. I got them printed out on this. I can show you later if you want. They're on my front door.
Yes. Show me.
I'll show you right now.
Yes.
I've
Let's
walked
go. Come
for
on.
the, okay, let's
See,
go.
folks, look at this. Look at this. This is what
Okay.
interviews are about.
For the last 5 years, I've walked in this door. My house is a mess, excuse it, but like, and I've looked at this for the last 5 years.
Beautiful.
Darling, I've been dreaming of this moment when we're dancing. I mean, and so I'm looking at it, and I can't,
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, sure. I'll go back to my bedroom. but but like,
We're not in the kitchen having a cup of coffee.
we can.
Come on, let's go. Let's go to the
Would
kitchen.
you like an espresso? Do you want an espresso? No, my kitchen is kind of, I mean, now, when we moved here, we didn't have a kid. So in the last I mean, I have a 3-year-old now, and she is at a jumpy park with the babysitter. So I could have this time to do this, but
how sweet. 3 years old. What a blessing.
amazing. And so so much life has been lived. So when we got to film this video, I was so thankful to God, to the universe, to the people who believed in me in Nashville, to like, I just didn't know that I would make another music video. Now I'm getting emotional, but like, it was such a beautiful day. And like Benji and I kept talking about that over and over and over again. And so whenever I watch it, it makes me so happy because, you know.
Yeah, and it premiered on CMT Music, right?
CMT, yes, and that's a journey too. I mean,
Wow.
CMT premiered it, and we've been friends for about 6 years. And the fact that they heard something in it that they were like, yeah, let's put it on. I'm putting you back up here. Let's put it on. Come with me in my makeshift Zoomness. You know, let's put it on CMT, and yeah, Risa, it's your time. Let's go. And I'm just like, what? I'm still just walking around Nashville, like, what? I said to George, my husband, I was like, I pray, like, this is why we moved here. You know what I mean? Like, and so this video, a lot like home, and the fact that that's what they chose, and just all of it, I'm such a huge believer in signs. I don't know about you, but I am. And I felt like this was just like God being like, yes, Risa, yes, see what I tried to do, what I'm doing, you know? And I'm like, cool. And so, whew, that's how I feel about the video.
Oh, I saw the video. I mean, I'm gonna cry because I cried, and I just thought, you know, I've met songwriters who write amazing songs, and then they get chosen to be an anthem for something. I mean, your video needs to be an anthem for realtors. I mean, what an amazing thing to show about buying a home. I mean, because we all dream of that, but this one was done so beautifully. You guys singing, the way the actors, you know, his wife. I mean, she just looked like a professional.
She looked like she's done this for a million years. Yeah, I was beside.
Right?
I was like, Andrea, are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah,
want to be in my next video? Like, I don't understand. Like, and
so
so
happy.
I'm so happy for you, and like for buying a home. And like, you know, we lived in Brooklyn first, and then we couldn't afford anything, you know, and you know, and now we love, you know, living in this condo. And I think I want to say, like, what's so wild, and the truth is, when I sent this song that didn't have a video yet, I sent it to my friend at CMT I said, hey, I think this song would be awesome on like HGTV. Do you know anyone that could, you know what I mean? That was my, and she goes, Risa, do you have a video for this? And I was like, no. And she's like, if you make a video, we will support it. I'm like, holy cow. And so like, oh no. And so I was like, that's about, I told you I wasn't going to make any moves, but I'm so sorry. My hands, they just
my God. I hope that comes true. And you share that with us too. Cause that's an amazing, awesome video. Truly.
Do you know my dream, actually? And I'll just say it and put it in the universe, but like, I'm obsessed with the Magnolia Network with Joanna and Chip Gaines. And I feel like, you know, they have they're friends with Johnny Swim, who's a beautiful duo, and they have a theme song about home. And when I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, it reminded me about this song. And I don't know, you know, I think each song you write as a songwriter can have a life somewhere. You just have to figure out where that life is. And, you know, this song, I can't wait. I mean, I've started to sing it live a bit, but like when I do it, I get emotional. Like, and that doesn't happen with every song. You know what I mean? So there's something about it that's bigger than us when we wrote it, or just that's what it is. Wild. So
our viewers can watch it on cmt.com, and your single how do you get that? It's out there on all the
if you Google Risa Binder, it'll come up and show you like all the platforms it's on. It's on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, all that great stuff. And I know that it's playing all month long on CMT Music on the actual music station, but cmt.com, it's up there. And I'm a huge believer in dream boards and putting out there what it is that you want in your life. And for 2 years, I had the emblem of CMT. I'm a big visual person. I have to see like pictures. And so CMT was up on my board. And just to be real, during the pandemic, we all had to switch our lives a bit. And I kind of I dismantled my board. So, and I kind of was like, I don't know. And then the fact that this is happening, and I saw the emblem of CMT on the whole thing is like wild. And it's like, don't give up. I feel like the pandemic as an artist, and I've talked to a lot of other artists about this, like it made you ask yourself, truly, is this what you want to be doing? You know, and then if you want to be doing it, what do you want to say? It just revived, that I mean, it's never left me. I just love doing this so much, but like it made me remember my why, and like what I feel like I'm put on this earth to make others happy. And like, if I can do that through my music, I'm doing my job, and so this song still, I just can't believe it. I'm like so excited, but when I sing it too, I'm like, that's the purpose of this song. So yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, with all that, let's talk about your songwriting career. How did that get started? How old were you? Your first song you wrote? I always like all that exciting stuff. Let's share.
Okay, thank you. I remember I remember the first time I thought that music was magical, because I grew up in Columbia, Maryland, and I lived on a street with all boys, but I would make up songs about anything when I was like 3, 4, 5, 6, just about anything. And I remember being in my little playroom, singing out a window going, I wish a girl would move next door. I just making it up. I wish a girl would move next door. And the next week, 6 girls moved the Diamonds moved next door, and there were 6 girls. And I was like, oh, and then I was like, did music do that? Like, I just, how we are as kids, like and I'm like, music is magic. What else can music do? And so that's kind of my first that's my first memory of writing something and seeing what happens from it. And then, I would write songs about boys I had crushes on and play it for my parents, but never tell them like who I was talking about or whatever. So that was funny. And then, I guess I grew up in the theater. I actually didn't know that songwriting could be a career. I moved to New York City and auditioned for a Broadway while singing in these little bars songs, like The Bitter End, and like,
Wow.
And the Rockwood Music Hall. And still, I mean, I just went back to New York last week after not being there for 16 months.
Wow.
And just, I feel like my heart beats in like 3 places simultaneously, and that happens to be one of them. So it's wonderful to be there, but I guess, so I would sing, and then I'm like, you know what? I was a waitress, and I was like, I should start making trips to Nashville. And so I sat in the back church pew of the Bluebird Cafe, which, have you ever been there?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And, so where I sat, and I happened to be, my first night there was all Garth Brooks writers, no Garth Brooks, all Garth Brooks. And I was like, what is happening? And one of the guys, Kim Williams, who wrote the song, The Dance, was singing The Dance. And that's the first time I saw a songwriter sing a song I thought was so powerful, but having it come from them. And The Dance. And it changed my world that day. And I was like, I want to get better at what I do. I need to come here more. This seems like Nashville is the grad school of songwriting. It is the Olympics where people get gold medals of songwriting. And and you're never finished. You're never, ever, ever, ever finished writing. When you think you're out of ideas, you sit in a room with other people and they elevate you and you write more, And so that's kind of how it started. And I'm a huge believer in signs. And I went to the Bluebird so many times, and I was flying on a trip back. I can't remember which way I was going, but my boyfriend, now husband, was with me, Jordan, and there were 2 seats left on a plane. And so we sat in them, and I used to read all the liner notes of every CD I ever got. And I saw, because I was being nosy, this woman was typing on her computer, and the corner said Beth Nielsen Chapman. And I was like, am I sitting next to Beth Nielsen Chapman? Now, she wrote the song This Kiss for Faith Hill. Okay, so I was like, am I sitting next to? So I was like, are you Beth Nielsen Chapman? She's like, I am. And I'm like, can you tell me about your life? I want to hear all about, if you want to. And she talked to me the whole plane ride about the story of this kiss. And this is the long story long. I love to talk, but she said when she wrote This Kiss, she knew it was a hit, but it took 7 years. People said, no, it's not. And she just knew it in her gut. And we had it. And she goes, and I knew it like I knew anything. And so this is crazy. But at the end of that flight, she asked Jordan to help her with her guitar case. And she walked out in front of me with the words faith on her guitar case. And I was like, and at the end, when she was getting her luggage, she was like, Risa, can I grab your number? Da, da, da. And I was like, sure. what just happened? A month later, she asked me to join her. I was in New York. She's like, will you join me at the Bluebird as my guest? And so the first time I got to sing at the Bluebird was with Beth Nielsen Chapman announcing me. And I was like, I think this is the major, I think God is basically like, get your butt here. And,
what an experience.
It was wonderful. And so that's my, like, so from watching the Bluebird so much to then sitting in the circle, and I don't get, like, when I'm on stage and I'm performing for lots of people, I feel like I'm in my living room. I feel like this is fun and we're going to have a good time. But when I sat in that circle, I was so nervous because of all the people that have sat in that circle. And so it's so funny. And so I haven't performed there in a while. I'd love when the world is opening back up a bit more, I'd love to sit in that circle again. But that was my first experience, and whoa. Yeah.
Did you get to write during the pandemic, since we were at home and stuff? Did you?
I did. I'm actually working on my next single right now that we wrote during the pandemic, and I'm almost done it. And we're in the studio. We were just there 2 days ago. We're back next week to put like harmonies and stuff. So it's like, and I hope to shoot a video for it in August, so then put it out in August. And my goal is to just every couple months put out a new single. And so we wrote a ton. We wrote over Zoom. And it was always great to see the faces of my friends over Zoom, because it keeps your heart going,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your daughter, what was she, about 2 then? What did you do?
She was 2. Now she's 3. It was really difficult because my parents live in Maryland. And so I feel like we are all in a collective trauma, and we are slowly all coming out of it in our own way. Right? Would you say that?
Yeah, exactly. What a way to put it.
Right. And one of my co-writers, Charlie Berry, who I wrote this next single with, he said it so beautifully. He was like, whatever you were in before COVID, whatever was going on in your life was only exaggerated in it. Only exaggerated, right? And he's like, and then so it makes you kind of pushes things up against a wall that you need to kind of figure out next steps for certain things in its own time. And I loved that. And the majority of my trauma was the fact that my daughter from 2 to 3, for longer than that, didn't get to see my parents. My parents missed that. You don't get that back. I have one kid, you know what I mean? And so I could not wait. We all got vaccinated. We flew in May, and we spent 2 weeks with them, and they took both of her hands and walked her across the street. And I was like, that's the first time both my parents have walked my child across the street, because when they saw her last, she was just walking. She was just, you know what I'm saying? So I was like,
yeah.
So I took pictures like a crazy person. We're going back in 2 weeks. I can't wait. And like, so Liel was awesome. I mean, when you're 2 and 3, every day, the world's amazing and magical. And you don't really know what's going on. And I was not sharing with her. I was like, every day will be lollipops and unicorns for my child. She will not know, except when she has to like wear a mask, which was hard, and explaining that. So now when we're on the playground, she'll be like, Mommy, are there too many people here? I'm like, oh no. I'm like, it's fine now. It's great. But we got really creative, and we made my favorite coffee shop here in Nashville. One of them, during the pandemic, you could get coffee through a window. So we would go and get coffee through a window. And then literally all of the playgrounds were closed, right? So there was a ramp. There's a ramp. We made a ramp become everything you could imagine. We pretended on that ramp. We pretended it was a slide. It was a ramp for a brewery across the street. Thank you, Jackalope Brewery. And so I'm sure the people were like, what is she doing? But then they understood we needed to do stuff. We don't have a yard. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, in your apartment, yeah. So you make great memories for her to show her later in life, This is what we did during the pandemic.
We searched for Winnie the Pooh's honey. So now she'll go to that ramp and she'll be like, do you want some honey? And I know probably forever she'll think that's where honey comes from or something. I'm like, I want some honey, sure. So cute.
Oh my goodness. That's great. Oh my gosh. So what's like your fondest memories of like knowing that you wanted to be a songwriter?
There's so many, but like so far, some things that stand out to me are like, I did get to open for James Taylor and grow. I did that, and it was at a sun. It was amazing, and
Oh my goodness.
and like I grew up on his songs. They were like lullabies to me, and so
Wow.
and I just didn't think necessarily that he would be there for the show. Meaning like I thought during the opening set he would probably be comfortable somewhere or whatever, but
Right.
he actually like watched me, and
Oh,
I thank God I didn't know it because he watched me from the back. It was an
whoa.
outdoor theater,
Uh-huh.
and this is I tell this story a lot, but like I finished my set, I walked down the back steps of the outdoor theater, and he's like, Risa, he's like, really great job tonight. How is it out there? And I panicked and I was like, it's windy. And he was like, it's what? I'm like, it's what? You know what? I was like, everybody's here to see you. It's going to be an amazing show. I was like, Risa, shut up. Like, I was just like, shut up. And so I said it's windy to him. And, but so that was one of my, Sweet Baby James is, I grew up to
Oh,
that, and
right.
just, oh my God. And so watching him, that was amazing. And then it's funny, I got to tour for 2 years opening for Ronnie Millsap. And
Oh,
what's funny is I did not grow up with him, but I got to know him. I got to open for him when he was inducted in the Hall of Fame. So then I did my research, and he's had 40 #1 hits. Did not know that. 44, I think. And he's
wow.
blind. He's blind.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, this man is amazing. And so we're going to go out again, and I have a couple dates with him in August, and it's been a while
Nice.
since,
Yeah.
so that'll be fun. But that's a highlight, is watching for so many nights people who I've not been in a position where, except for him so far, where like, these hits are being sung back to you, and
Oh,
he's just putting the microphone out there, and it's like, and then people would come up to me at my merch table when I sold stuff, and they'd be like, can I tell you the story of, and they're older and adorable,
right.
like, of
Yeah.
what Ronnie means to me. I'm like, please tell me. And so I was like soaking up.
Oh,
And those memories, actually, my band, so my family lives in Maryland, but my band is my family here, literally my friend's chosen family. And when I heard like Ronnie Millsap, all of his band has been together for 25 years. He's kept the same people,
no way.
the same guy selling t-shirts. Like, I'm like, what?
Wow.
And I'm like,
It's
if there's any
amazing.
way to have, right? I'm like, if there's any way to have part of the success that he had, where I could keep the same people, where I just, during the pandemic, we did some live stream shows. So the band got back together a couple times, and they were awesome. And I liked the app I used. It was great. I called Moment House, and,
Oh, wow.
and I hopefully, I think I learned that we'll probably do that again, like once a year, a live stream or something like that,
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, but songwriting is therapy. I think music is therapy, and don't you?
Oh yeah, I'm 61 years old and I've had music in my ear my whole life. I can't imagine a day without music ever, ever.
Ever.
And it's amazing that I tell this story to my songwriter folks that I've met and interviewed, that truth be told, that I loved country music my whole life, and I watched this show called Songland that was on NBC, and I watched this show, and it just bam, I'm like, are you kidding me? I love music, love these songs that Garth Brooks or George Strait or Alan Jackson, especially George Strait, who never wrote any songs until he was in his 60s. And I'm thinking, look at these people write that song. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't even have the music in the songs that I love. So that just made me go on okay, I got to interview as many songwriters as possible, because there's like, it's all about you guys.
I
All
love
about
that
you
you
guys.
do that. And the thing, it's funny because as a songwriter too, and I love, like, one of my favorite songwriters ever is Matresa Burke. She wrote Strawberry Wine
Wow.
with a couple other people, but like those people, they help what they're doing. And this too, because like what you just said, like they are literally, when I hear a song, it takes me back to a certain time and place, or
Mhm.
smell, or food, or whatever. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh my, and like Strawberry Wine, I can tell you exactly where I was, where I first heard it, and what it did to me. And so that's what happened when I went to the Bluebird the first time, and I was like, oh my God, same moment that you had, same moment. I'm like, it's, the artist does a great job, but in fact, sometimes I even like the way the songwriter sings it better than the one,
Right?
Oh, I heard, oh my gosh. I heard, I think this was the last time I was at the Bluebird. So this is kind of like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe even, I have to get back there. But
Wow.
Lori McKenna played Humble and Kind there. She was like, I have this song. It was like before, and I'm like, I came home after, she goes, I hope that this song has a life. If not, I'm giving it a life. And she sang her Humble and Kind. And I came home, I'm like, Jordan, I just heard a song that is like life changing. And like,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't happen all the time, but you know it when it happens. You just feel it, so it's wild.
Well, keep writing and can't wait for your next one and video. We want to keep following you because I'm so glad I got to meet you. You have an amazing voice. God
Oh my
given
gosh.
talent.
Thank you. I was so happy for you that you should have seen me. Literally, I went to different places in the house to sit to feel like, what would it look like? Whatever. I was just, excited to be able to meet you and tell the story. So thank you.
What do you got hanging behind you?
Oh, this is a ketubah. It's like a Jewish, like when you get married, it's like the laws of marriage in Hebrew. And it's funny because it came, this is so side note, it came in a square frame, but I always kind of saw it as a circle. So I cut it up, and then I found this, how Marshalls, or where did I go? One of the home stores.
Home Goods?
Home Goods, they sell these big, huge clocks. And I took the numbers off the clock because it's less expensive than like frame, buying an expensive
God, you're a
frame.
genius.
No, I was just like, I don't want, it would cost like $30 because the clock was $30, this is my clock, universal clock. What am I doing? And so then I just cut it up and.
What a great idea. So you should be on the Home Network.
A lot like home, putting it out there now.
Yes, right.
But yeah, but that's what that is. It's called a ketubah.
Yeah. Do you have any parting words for us about your new video and song?
Just thank you to every single person that watches it. And I'm really, truthfully, I love hearing people's stories. So if it moves you to kind of tell me about your first home or that you're looking or whatever, like literally please find me online and tell me. You can kind of go and see it's on YouTube now as well at CMT. Okay. And you can write, people have been writing all these comments and sharing. So it just warmed my heart to hear about other people and how they feel when these first happened. So it's good. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. That's amazing. So y'all do that. I'll make sure I put all your social media on my article too, so that everyone can reach out and hear this song and see this amazing video.
Thank you. So awesome.
You're welcome.